Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Hash It Out Show. I'm your host, JB, your sports guy. I'm joined by my good friend, who you can find on CrescentCitySports.com, the one, the only, VK Jones. VK, how you doing, my friend?
What's going on, Jerry? What's going on, everybody? Good evening, everybody, and welcome to one of the best sports shows in New Orleans and all over the state. Subscribe to JB Your Sports Guy on YouTube and also on Facebook. Jared JB Boyd, myself, Deshaun K. Jones on YouTube and also on Facebook. Like, share, tag, subscribe to the Hash It Out Show every Wednesday night right here on Facebook and on YouTube. We've got a special guest, got a couple special guests coming up tonight. Looks like where you're looking on the screen, it's we could say ball men on campus part 2 tonight. You know what I'm
There it
saying?
is.
Jared, go ahead, take it away.
Later on, the head coach of the Delgado Dolphins baseball team, Joe Scheuermann, is going to join us. But right now, our guest, he led the Loyola Wolfpack to the NAIA Junior College World Series championship game last year, and he has his team back in the NAIA tournament. Jeremy Kennedy, Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. I appreciate you all having me on.
Thank you for joining us. Coach, after the season of last season, your team has a lot of high expectations before the season started this year. How were you and your team able to deal with those expectations?
I think they've done a pretty good job. It's been an interesting season. We had a really good season going. I think we got as high as 12th in the country in the poll, and then we kind of had a couple bad weeks and really didn't finish the season the way we wanted to. We had a couple bad weekends. We got swept in 2 weekend series late in the year, which really changed the trajectory of our season for sure. And so here we are now in the conference tournament, where we really need to do something in the conference tournament to move on to the next stage. So we opened up today and got the first one under our belt, and so we'll see what we can do tomorrow.
You brought back a veteran group, a lot of guys with a lot of experience, led by Lou Clement and Stephen Still. How important is it to have a veteran group back this season?
I think it's a big deal. Guys just know what the expectations are. Makes my job a lot easier when you have guys that know how the program runs and can take the new guys and the younger guys aside and make sure they're up to speed on how we go about our business. And so those are 2 of the guys that have done a really good job of doing that, and it just makes my job a lot easier for sure.
Before I give it to VK, after the tournament last year, you made it known that you need to have more pitching. Why is it that you needed to have more depth on the pitching mound for this season?
Yeah, when you get into tournament baseball, it's all about pitching. It's about your frontline guys, but then it's also about what kind of quality do you have on the back end. Because once you're into game 3 or 5, could be, your best guys have already thrown, and they're not available to you. So it's about the depth at that point, and so that's a challenge. That continues to be our challenge through recruiting and building the program. Is we've got an ace in Stephen Still. He was just recognized as a first-team all-conference guy again this year last night. But we still need to build up the depth. Right now, we've got 2 freshmen starting on the weekend with Stephen, and so that build is happening. But that takes a while when you're plugging in some young guys. Stephen was one of those guys that started as a freshman and now he's a junior. And I think it's been a big deal, him having been through that, to help the 2 freshmen we have going right now, that, because it's a little bit of a roller coaster ride with those guys. They're talented, and so they're in those spots for a reason, but without the experience, they take some lumps here and there.
You talk about Stephen Still. One second, VK. Stephen Still.
No problem. Go ahead.
Steven still has 249 career strikeouts. I find that amazing, coach. And he's only a junior.
Yeah, I think that number went up today a little bit too. He had 10 today, and he broke the all-time school record today. So yeah, he's now the strikeout king for us, and yeah, he just does a good job. He's got good stuff. He's a left-handed pitcher, which always helps. He's got good stuff. He's got an incredible changeup. The changeup's his best pitch. He commands a fastball into right-handers, which not a lot of left-handers are able to do that. And of late, his breaking ball has been good. So he's a very competitive guy. That's one thing that he's learned over his time here to control a little bit. When he was younger, his freshman year, that his competitive juices would get the best of him from time to time. And I think now he's a veteran guy that understands how to control those emotions. And he did a great job of that today. He threw 117 pitches today, punched out 10, and it was all zeros on the board when he came out.
Amazing. Coach, I wanted to, ask you, last season, like, you guys got to the national championship game. You was like a little bit over 500, but you really got your team together. The tough schedule got things going for you guys last season. This season, it got a little more tougher, more than anything else, especially the conference. Can you tell the audience how tough this conference that you're in right now? Because you mentioned during the season there was some weekends that wasn't easy at all, and at the same time, it seems like the the conference that you're in has really toughened up a good bit, and they knew they had to step it up against you guys this season.
Yeah, the Southern States is one of the best conferences in the NAI, arguably the best. It's usually us and the Sun Conference in Florida that are the two best. We have 4 or 5 teams ranked typically, and that kind of moves around who those teams are a little bit. But yeah, every weekend in our conference is a tough weekend, and so you don't really have a weekend off, so to speak. You got to be locked in every weekend. If you don't bring your A game, if we're not throwing strikes and playing defense, then you can wear it pretty quick. And that happened to us a little bit late at Middle Georgia and at William Carey, where we didn't play well and they played well, and they're both good teams, and we paid for it. So yeah, the conference, once you get to the postseason, you're battle tested, having run through the conference, and I think that benefits us in the postseason. We've seen all good arms all weekend. Everybody's Friday night guys is a legit guy, and so once you get to that postseason, there's nobody that we're going to see that's any better than what we've already seen.
Now, looking at the Loyola athletic program, how has this really come up these last couple of years, maybe this last 5, 6 years? Like, we knew over the years, Loyola always been an academic institution, athletically not too bad, but recently it's just been a resurgence so much, especially in all sports, but especially with the baseball program. What are your thoughts on the progress of Loyola Athletics, and also about how things are starting to become more of a winning tradition now at Loyola than just academics?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Brett Simpson, our athletic director, has done a tremendous job of building up the athletic department across the board. Our men's basketball team won a national championship last year. Both basketball teams are always highly ranked. Our volleyball team continues to get better every year. Tennis teams are ranked. Golf teams are ranked. So yeah, everybody's doing a good job. And I think Brett is the biggest reason for that. Obviously, he's the one that got the plan and putting it in place. And some things that we're able to do with scholarships is helping that, helping us to attract the right people. You got to have help if you want to win. You got to have some help, and so there's some things that are continuing to improve. We still have a ways to go. We're not where we want to be yet. I think as an athletic department, we still want to continue to grow, and certainly as a baseball program, we do. As a baseball program, we want to compete for a national championship, and we think we can do that. It's tough to do it at Loyola with the academic standards that we have. We just don't have the same pool of players available to us through the recruiting process. Guys have to care about their academics, and that has to be a priority. And so that shrinks the pool. A lot of our competition, that's not the case. They're just going and getting the best players, and we have to go find great student athletes. And I think the benefit of that is the kind of character that we have on our teams. I think it's easier for us to overachieve because we have overachieving people on our teams. And so, we don't have a lot of those issues that a lot of teams have off the field because our guys are focused and taking care of their business. But the athletic department is doing a great job. You jump on the website and you click on the schedules and you see all the teams, and there's a bunch of ranked teams on there in different sports across the board. So that speaks to the job that Brett's doing and the commitment that he has to what we're doing.
Now taking a look at the recruiting more than anything, and I know you're working hard. I seen you one weekend and seemed like and there's nothing wrong with a lot of the local coaches here in the state and people across the country coming in to the junior college ranks to try and come get some players and everything else. You know what I'm saying? What are your thoughts of the junior college talent you've seen this year? Because I know I've seen you Delgado game and one time at Nunez, and there's a couple of good players for Nunez that you probably looked at. But talk about how your process has been, especially going in the junior college ranks.
Yeah, I mean, some of our better players are junior college players. Again, the first thing that has to happen with those JUCO guys for us is they have to be students. They've got to have their academics in order. And so for us, the process is we identify the talent, and the first question we got to go ask is what kind of student are they? And that eliminates a lot of them for us, to be honest with you. But there is a lot of good junior college talent in the city, and then in the state too, down in our area. So we've got a couple of guys on our team right now from LSU Eunice that are two of our best players. They hit 1 and 2 in our lineup, and that's a juggernaut of a baseball program. I think, I don't know, we've got like 2 or 3 losses on the season, ranked number 1 in the country.
Yes.
We've had some guys from Delgado in my 4 years here, and obviously they're always good too. And Nunez is a program that's been just getting better and better every single year. And they've got guys too, and we've got a pitcher on our team right now from Nunez and Grant Goodby, and I'm sure we're going to have some more. So they're all doing a good job, and there's a lot of high school talent in the area too. So it's a fun state to recruit for sure.
Grant Goodby, that I know there was a lot of work with him because he really improved himself during the year last season, and I mean probably one of the big. And I'll tell you, Jared, if you ever seen Grant Goodby, probably one of the biggest pitchers you will ever see. He's about 6'3.5", about 280, but I think he might have lost that weight with coach. I wouldn't even be surprised of that. But he has a lot of speed and velocity on his pitches, right, Coach?
Yeah, he's doing a good job. He hasn't lost all of it, but he's done a good job. We put him through the ringer this fall, and he kept up. So, and he's a 4.0 student too. So, like I said, he checks that academic box right out of the gate, and does a good job for us out of our bullpen.
Awesome. I'll ask you this, and I'll let Jared close things out. What is the future of Loyola baseball? Because it seems like you have really grown, finding a home at Signet Field, and this season you played a couple games at Turchin and everything, but it seems like you've really embraced Signet Field as a home field for Loyola. So how are things looking with the future of baseball, and also is Signet Field kind of permanent for right now for Loyola?
Yeah, I think it is for now. We always like to get closer to campus. That's a challenge for us, being on the West Bank and having the commute over to Signet. But Signet's a great facility. Jefferson Parish has done a lot for us with that facility. We just put in a new outfield this year. That was a major commitment. That was a big financial commitment. And there's been consistent improvements to it since I got here. It's definitely in much better condition than it was when I got here 4 years ago. The hurricane set us back a little bit, did some damage to some things, took down part of the wall, and there's some issues that we had to address there. But I think the future of Loyola baseball is bright. We've got a good recruiting class coming in. Looking to add a few more this summer, and really like the direction everything's going, and definitely can use the help of the community. We've got a lot of alumni in the community. I run into guys all the time that played here, or their brother played here, or their son played here, and they see me with a Loyola shirt on and stop me and talk to me. And so the roots run deep in the city, and so we're always looking for help. We always have projects on the list, things that we want to do that we just can't quite do right now. But I think the future's bright for sure.
How's that atmosphere have been at the home games and everything, and how that atmosphere is around Loyola baseball? Because we know with the other sports, it's been really, really good. But how it's been with Loyola baseball with the atmosphere, the crowds for the home games?
It's good. I think the challenge for us is being on the West Bank. Our families are super supportive. We probably travel better than any team that we play against. A lot of times on the road, we'll have more there, more friends and family there than the home team. Our guys come from great families, and they're very supportive, and I'm certainly super appreciative of that. I think our big challenge is that we are on the West Bank when it comes to that. I think if the day comes where we can be closer to campus, that's a big deal. We'll never be on campus because that's just not an option. But I think, if the day comes where we can be closer to campus, I think it'll help out our game day atmosphere a lot with allowing some more the students and people in the city to be there. People in the city think going to the West Bank is like an out-of-state trip. So once they don't like going over that river, but yeah, it's one of our challenges that we just deal with.
That's understandable, and
Definitely understandable.
We're not offended. We're both West Bankers, but we completely understand the situation and problem. Because sometimes it is kind of a trek for a team, a school that's uptown, that has to come way to the West Bank and play and everything. But I know us in the West Bank, we embrace that, but at the same time, we completely understand. It'd be better for Loyola to probably have somewhere to play closer and everything. It's a almost similar situation with Xavier and Dillard and everything else, because there's very few places that they can play baseball anywhere in the city. That look like it's like a big problem, right, Coach?
It's a unique problem to the city of New Orleans for sure. I've been around the country, and it's a super unique one. There's just no real estate available. There's no land. There's no place to build facilities, and there's not that many of them for all the schools. The high schools, all the high schools fight over a lot of the same fields, and I know summer ball stuff's always an issue, and tournaments that want to come into New Orleans, they struggle to do it because the facilities just aren't there. So from a baseball standpoint, it's definitely always a challenge in the city to get those facilities.
Coach Jeremy Kennedy, we thank you for joining us, and we want to wish you good luck in the rest of the conference tournament that you guys are playing in, and good luck tomorrow in your game.
All right, guys, I appreciate it.
Thank you,
problem.
Coach.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, bye-bye.
It's Coach Jeremy Kennedy, the head coach of the Loyola Wolfpack baseball team, and he has his guys back in the conference tournament looking to win that and to make another run in the NAIA tournament to get back to the championship in which they played in last year.
And it's the Southern States Conference that they're in, the Southern States Conference baseball tournament. So log on to Loyola's website if you want to check the tournament out. I don't know if it's free or not, but check it out. The games are streamed, especially for the conference tournament. So check it out. They will play tomorrow. So we wish Coach Kennedy and Loyola the best. They're making a lot of strides, Jerry. They're making
Oh,
a lot
without a
of
doubt.
strides, especially
What
the
he's done
talent
in
they have.
4 years, that is astounding and amazing in itself. He has done a good job with that program. He's turned that program around.
Absolutely. And I mean, taking them all the way to the national championship game last season and everything else, it just tells. But it's amazing overall what this Loyola athletics program. It is
Overall,
totally
yes,
changed. It is
correct.
totally changed because it used to be kind of, and I'm not trying to offend any Loyola alumni at all,
Please don't.
kind of
Please don't.
average of a athletic department a long time ago. But now they went from little average to being competitive and now winning.
Winning,
And that's
even
and
national
that's and
championships in basketball.
national championships, period. Competing for national championships. That's what you want from a program anyway. That's a goal for any program. But for Loyola to make that progress over the years, especially at that academic institution in itself, the Jesuit college in itself, and they have made a lot of progress overall. And also, they have for the first time an African American president at Loyola, and even an African American head coach. So it's amazing, a lot of progress, and big ups to Loyola. I wish them they continue to great success over there.
We all do, definitely, definitely, especially with us being from the New Orleans area. We wish every school the best of success. Now, we're going to move on to our next guest. And this guy here really doesn't need any type of introduction, but he's in his 33rd season as the head coach of the Delgado Dolphins baseball team. He's in the National Junior College Athletic Association Baseball Coaches Hall of Fame. He has been to 4 Junior College World Series. He's won 15 Region 23 championships. And last year, he won the South Central District Championship. And right now, they are getting ready to play in the Region 23 Championship, looking to defend the title they won last year. Our next guest, this is Coach Joe Scheuermann. Coach, how you doing? And
Good.
thank you for joining us.
You bet, guys. Happy to be here. Appreciate the ask. Always great to talk with you guys.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you. Coach, your father started the baseball program at Delgado. Why was it so important for you to take over the reins of that program?
It's pretty ironic. I know I've been listening to Coach Kennedy and you guys talk for the last 15 minutes, but my dad was the head baseball coach at Loyola University from 1951 through when it dropped athletics in 1972 or 73. I'm not really sure the year that it dropped, but I know this. I was probably 9 or 10 years old when it happened, and I don't know if you guys remember a radio announcer named Wayne Mack. Wayne Mack was a local radio announcer on WSMB radio, and my dad and my 2 sisters and I were riding through Audubon Park back when you could ride through Audubon Park, and Wayne Mack came on the radio and said, "Breaking news, Uptown, Loyola's calling a 10 o'clock press conference to announce the dropping of its athletic program." And I thought my dad was going to run into one of the oak trees in the old Audubon Park, but it's ironic. That's how we found out that Loyola was going to drop athletics. But it was that reason that my dad moved to Delgado in 1973, I believe. Delgado hired him to start the athletic program, and in 1974, I think they fielded their first baseball team. So, what was Loyola's loss was Delgado's gain, and following in my dad's footsteps is something that, to be quite honest with you, I grew up in the dugout with him. I was his and the bat boy, and when he was coaching at Loyola, and followed him to the mound one time, and ever since the day that I can remember, I wanted to be a baseball coach, and the fact that I was able to follow my dad was something that you dream of as a kid.
With your dad influencing to be a coach, once he passed, how did that even make you a better coach?
Well, I'll be quite honest with you. It's ironic that you said that, because I believe I became a better coach after the passing of my dad. Because when my dad was here, I was trying to do too much. I was more worried about winning than probably I should be worried about coaching. And once he passed and left us, and I was able to relax a little more, I really felt like I became a better coach. And I still feel that way today. I do things that I think my dad would do, but I don't think I do things because my dad would do them. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's kind of crazy, but it's something that until you're in those shoes and you're trying to fill the shoes of a legend like he was, it's not an easy task. And I watch this all the time in college football. People trying to follow Bear Bryant. Alabama didn't have a whole lot of success until a guy stepped in there and won a national championship named Gene Stallings, who was one of Bear's players. And then, you go back and you look at what happened at LSU after Coach Saban left, and guy steps in and wins a national championship, and the program takes off again. So it's something that the guy that immediately follows that legend, it's a tough spot. And I guess I kind of outlasted it, for lack of a better term. I mean, to tell you that I thought I'd be here 33 years later, still being a coach at Delgado, I'd be lying to you, because when I took the job, I thought I'd be a coach there for maybe 5 or 6 years and move on to a Division I job, and certain things happen. You get offers, and it means you're relocating your family and leaving some of your family, and I just didn't want to do that. I didn't want to leave mom, and at the time my wife's father and mother was still living, and we had some offers. Western Carolina was one of them, and a couple offers in the SEC to be an assistant coach, and I didn't want to leave home. So after a certain amount of time, your roots dig in, and you're here forever.
Now, there was a time when Delgado was going to close the program, and that was due to Hurricane Katrina. You did not let that happen. How did you not let it happen?
Well, it's ironic, because I had a recruit on campus today that was from New Roads, Louisiana, a pitcher from New Roads, and that's where my family ended up after Hurricane Katrina. We lived in a fishing camp that Brian Krantz, the former owner of the New Orleans Fairgrounds, provided to my family. So we had 8 women, my son, myself, 2 dogs, and a rabbit there for about 3.5 months. But it's something that we talked every day. Our campus relocated to the campus of BRCC. Our administration met there daily, so I would get in every morning, get in my car, drive from New Roads to Baton Rouge, and I'll never forget the conversation I had with Chancellor Johnson at the time. He called me into the little office he had set up at the time and said, "Joe, we're not going to be able to have athletics." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because financially, we don't know where we're going to be." I said, "Doc, I'm not asking you for a penny, but if I raise the money, what would be possible for me to keep athletics, at least the baseball program?" And at the time, I wasn't the athletic director, so I called Tommy Smith, who was the athletic director at the time, and I said, "Tommy, they're talking about dropping athletics." He goes, "I know. I just had the conversation with the chancellor." He goes, "What are your thoughts?" I said, "I'm not letting it happen. We're going to try to raise enough money to have a season, because once you drop it, it's never coming back." So we hung in there. We were very fortunate. A gentleman named Richard Colton stepped up big time for us and gave us a substantial donation. I'll never forget that day as long as I live. I was sitting in the outfield trying to put up my outfield fence back together. Had my team out there, and a cab pulled up. A gentleman in a United cab. He pulls up. He says, "Where's Coach Scheuermann?" And kids pointing me out on the other side. The cab drove around to the fence where I was working, and Mr. Colton got out and said, "How much is it going to take for you to have a program?" I read the article in the paper. I said, "Well, we got to raise between $75,000 and $100,000 to have a chance to have it." Next day, the cab came back. Cab driver got out and said, "Mr. Colton sent you this envelope." I opened it up, $75,000 check. So
Wow.
special stuff.
Yes, sir. Before I pass it on to VK, February 25th of this year, you got your 1,100 career victory.
Yeah, you know what that
Reflect on
means.
that moment.
You know what that means? That means we're getting old.
I
I remember this guy we sharing the screen with when he was a young freshman at Delgado. Now look at him. I mean, things happen. We get old and we get wiser. But no, seriously, it's been a great run for me. I've been very blessed. I've had great players, great coaching staffs, and to be quite honest with you, administration after administration that's been very supportive, and that's what it takes. I mean, it takes a village. It doesn't take an individual. One person doesn't win 1,100 games. The village wins 1,100 games, and I've been very blessed for a long time to be surrounded by really good players, really good coaches, and my family support and my administration support speaks for itself.
Do we see 1,500 maybe?
Well, I don't know about 50. We're gonna shoot for 1,200. I know that for sure. We're not gonna overshoot our goals. I spoke with Lou Holtz. I've been very blessed to be in the Sugar Bowl staff for many years. I got to meet some great coaches, and one gentleman that really left his mark on me was Lou Holtz. I mean, I had the privilege of sharing company with him for a couple of years. The first time I met him, I was an assistant at Tulane, and we were playing in the Hall of Fame Bowl in Birmingham, Alabama. And I met him, and came back when he was the head coach at Notre Dame in the Sugar Bowl. And I told him the story. I said, "Coach, I'm going to tell you a quick story. I was a senior at Tulane, and we were spending Christmas Day in Birmingham, Alabama, and you walked up in the back of the room and shook my hand and said, 'What's wrong, young man? You look like you're down in the dumps.' And I said, 'Coach, this is the first time I've ever been away from home for Christmas.' He said, 'Well, feel fortunate.' So and I'll never forget that. And because of that, we struck up a little writing relationship. He wrote me some notes back and forth, and I shared some thoughts with him, and he was very kind and shared his whole recruiting manual with me, which I used when I first started coaching at Tulane. And it's been a tremendous relationship. We don't talk as much as we used to, but he was very, very nice to me.
And you talking relationships and everything else. Well, me and Coach Scheuermann goes way, way back. And like he mentioned before, I was a student around 2003, 2004. And I tell you, this man right here below me helped me out tremendously. Like, we had a great communication television production department, and we decided to do some projects with the baseball team. And one time I decided to go cover the region tournament, and Coach Scheuermann looked out for me tremendously. And I mean, it's like, man, I appreciate it. You need anything? Look, come by the hotel. I got you, whatever. And I mean, he took care of me like I'm one of his players. And we kept the relationship like that since even when I started doing work with TSB in sports. He understood.
Yeah, this guy
It's his
does all
business.
my enemies' games, and then he comes up to me, and wants all my secrets. You know that old saying: you keep your friends close, and your enemies even closer. That's the philosophy I use now. We're still good friends, and look, let me just tell you this, guys. The people that influenced me in my career when I was a young man, a gentleman named M.L. Lagarde, who was the SID at Tulane forever, and later became the associate athletic director there. And he told me one thing that I'll never forget. He said, "Just remember the people that when you're climbing up the ladder, remember those same people are going to be on that ladder when you're climbing down the ladder." So I'll never forget that, and I try to keep everybody as close to me as I can, if like I met you the first time. And again, I've been very blessed, and hopefully I've touched lives like this young man's life, and that's why I coach. That's why I coach. I try to influence people's lives so they become better people and better dads. And next thing you know, they're bringing their children around and letting me hug them. So it's called life, and that's what baseball is. It's a microcosm of life, and that's why we're here.
And a little tidbit, Jared.
What you got?
One of the guys, one of the players that was on that Delgado team I covered at the time, one of your classmates, Chase Dardar.
Oh, yes, Chase. Yes.
So you're Archbishop Shaw guy, huh?
Yes, I am.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Chase was a good player for me. Chase came to me and was on a very good ball club, and then left me and went to LSU and was on a very good ball club. So he left his mark with us for a long time, no doubt.
Definitely.
Well, Coach, let's get into it a little bit with this. We talked about history. Now let's get into the baseball. This week we got the Region 23 tournament. You've won 15 out of 16 years of this tournament. You're coming in a rarity. You got 39 wins, but 3-game losing streak against a very good LSU squad.
Yeah,
LSU Uni squad at that.
there's no doubt. We played LSU this past weekend and we lost 2 one-run ball games. And to be quite honest, I don't know if you watched the third game or not, but we had plans to play all our sophomores because it was the last game of the year and the last home game of the year, and whether that influenced the score or not. But I mean, we were going to do the same thing if we were winning or we were losing. But we didn't play very well in the last game, but. It kind of got away from us a little bit. I think we lost 8-0. But to be quite honest with you, as a coach, you always like coming in off of wins. But I thought we played well enough, and I think our kids think we played well enough to win 2 of those 3 games. But who knows? I see I froze there. You still got me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We see you.
Yeah.
We see you.
So the big thing that we have to do more than anything. And this is probably more pressure on us that, when you finish 14-0 in conference and you don't lose a conference game, gentlemen, it's hard to beat somebody 8 times in 1 year. And we're trying to convince our kids they got to stay hungry, they got to stay focused, they got to stay energized, and we got to be good. Because I'll be quite honest with you, Nunez is a very much improved ball club. Baton Rouge has played us close in a couple of the games that we played against them. So we're not out of the woods we're no cinch to win this by any means. And if we don't show up, it's not gonna be an easy, pretty sight, just like it wasn't a pretty sight this weekend. So I think the one thing I like a little bit is I don't think Nunez and Baton Rouge have played a whole lot lately. I think they only played 1 game, and you guys probably know this a little better than I do, but I think they've only played 1 game in the last 14 days. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I think we might be a little fresher. Probably saw a little more pitching recently than they've seen. So, I think that might help us a little bit. And I'll tell you this: we're going to show up. I'll say that. We're going to give it. We're going to play as hard as we can play, and hopefully we'll come out on top. We'll see what happens.
Well, what you can say about the strength of this Region 23 conference and everything, despite y'all went undefeated, that both squads really, really improved, especially you guys winning 39 wins, but for Nunez, they almost won 30 this year. And it just shows right then and there, regardless of the fact whoever wins this Region 23, you're going to be some tough cookies going into the South Central Regional this year.
Oh, no doubt. Those clubs are much improved. Like you said, Coach Powell's doing a great job, and Nunez and Coach Semino's, doing a good job at BRCC. They're well coached. Both of those clubs are well coached, and both of those clubs have talent. So, we're expecting to have our hands full. It's not going to be a cakewalk by no means.
And we're looking forward to the tournament Friday. How you feel about the venue that they're going to be in on Friday this weekend at Open Alumni Field in Southeastern? This is not the first time you're going to be playing there, so very familiar territory for you guys.
Yeah, I think our kids are fired up about it. Anytime you get on a college campus and you play at a venue like Southeastern has, I mean, the turf field and the atmosphere that facility brings is refreshing and energizing. So I think our kids are excited about that chance. I think I'm glad we're playing in there, and not be quite honest with you. I think Chalmette's a little too small for college baseball. So I think Coach Powell and his staff did a good job of finding that venue and getting the opportunity for us to play there. And I tip my cap to Glenn, and also I thank Coach Reiser and his staff and Coach Artie, who's the athletic director there, for allowing us to play.
Well, your team very, very deep this year. One of the deepest you had probably in recent memory. You got the big three: Brian Broussard, Josh Alexander, and JT Singletary, who's been stepping up all year. But now you got people like Logan O'Neal, Jake Kaufman, and the others stepping up, hitting the ball, and then plus one of the deepest pitching staffs probably going into the tournament.
Yeah, well, we've been blessed. COVID has been good to us. Some people are tired of hearing the word COVID, but in the junior college level, you're going to have some very veteran teams, and we're veteran because of COVID. To be quite honest with you, to get those guys back. A guy named Brock Slayton has been a big part of our program this year, who came in from Baton Rouge area, went to University High area, and then he transferred in from a junior college in Texas. He's been a nice player for us. Our big first baseman, our true freshman playing first base, the Farabus kid, Jonathan Farabus, has been a good player for us. You mentioned Broussard, you mentioned Alexander, you mentioned Singletary. The Cook kid that plays left field for us has been nails for us for 2 years, and little Prejean, the little spark plug at third, reminds me of Ryan Say. He's been real good. But the biggest thing, you hit the nail on the head with Jake Kaufman. So beginning of the year, our shortstop was going to be Christian Westcott. Christian gets involved in a wreck on the causeway, and his femur is broken in half, and he's lucky that he's still with us, much less able to play baseball. But he's able to come in and do a great job for us, taking Christian's place. And that's, he was probably going to be projected as our starting second baseman, but he came in and filled the shoes at shortstop. Man, unbelievable. Better than I thought it would be, to be honest.
And like we mentioned, that pitching staff, I mean, Olivier and these good people. And then you got two potential closers, Valino and also
Levatino. The two Italian boys, Valino and Levatino. Sounds like we're serving pasta and ragu. You know what I'm saying? But those guys have been pretty good for us. The Lore kid has been nails for us as a starter. Olivier has been nails for us for a starter. But we've got those two guys. We got the big left-hander, who I don't know how much you saw of him this year, but he's really been throwing well. Turner Times. And, like you said, that's what you need. You need depth on the mound. Obviously, when you win tournaments, you got to have more than one or two arms. So hopefully we get through this thing and move on again. And, I really liked that club from the get-go. I thought we were going to be a very experienced club, which has proven to be true. I didn't know how well we would swing the bat, which we've swung the bat a lot better than I thought we would. And really the pitching has really been over par for us, really.
Well, what are your thoughts on we talked with Coach Kennedy a bit about the recruiting and stuff like that, how things are going with your squad, but not just that. How do you feel about, do you think there's a lot of talent on all three of these teams, and I think they need to be serious. A lot of these talent need to be seriously looked at, right, Coach?
No, there's no doubt about it. The thing about recruiting, guys, is it's made a 180-degree turn from where it used to be to where it is now. And what do I mean by that? I mean, the transfer portal has just totally changed the game at the Division I level. And it's basically a snowball effect all the way down through high school. We're able, and I feel this, we've been able to get in more high school homes this year than in my 33 years in the past, because what has happened is the high school parents is now starting to realize Division I schools are probably going to live in the portal. And if they don't live in the portal, they're going to probably go to JUCO to look for their quick fixes. So, and if you look at what's happened, and it's holding true. The trend is definitely holding true. And then the new rule that just passed, ecstatic about, where you're not going to be able to recruit a kid until he's a junior in high school at the Division I level. These 8th grade and freshman commitments, guys. I mean, I hate to say it's a joke, but it's a joke. I mean, for a freshman to commit to LSU, or for a freshman to commit to Notre Dame or USC or whatever, I mean, half the time the coaches aren't even there by the time they're seniors, you know. And then
That's true.
it's really a one-way ticket, because what happens is, if the young man doesn't pan out like he's projected to pan out, guess what happens? At the 12th hour, they pull the offer.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because he's been committed for 4 years, nobody's looked at him, so nobody's recruiting him. So he's left in the woodshed with no britches. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it's a shame. It's something that had to be changed, and kudos for the NCAA for changing it. Kudos to the Coaches Association for changing it, and you know, I think it's going to be probably the best thing that happened to JUCO baseball for a long, long time to come. The portal, I mean, I can't figure the portal out, guys. I thought I had a pretty good idea what goes on in recruiting, but you know, last year they had over 2,700 people in the transfer portal, and I think 91 of them found homes.
Oh,
So
Wow.
do the math.
yeah.
You know, so who's gonna benefit from the portal? The upper echelon of college baseball. You know, the top 10 teams are going to get their guys, and the top 20 teams are going to get some of their guys,
Mm-hmm.
and the rest of the guys are going to be looking for somewhere to go. So I'm not a big fan of the portal. I'm not a big fan of NIL, but that's a topic for another day.
You just put some numbers right there to make us think. That's a lot. But I want to ask you just one more thing, and Jared's gonna close things out. This season in Region 23, and I talked with Coach Powell about this weeks ago. This is the last season for Region 23 to compete in the South Central region of the NJCAA.
Yeah, that's correct. So starting next year, we go into the South region, which is basically the state of Alabama. So what has happened at the NJCAA national level, Alabama used to have, I want to say, 21 schools that played Division I baseball. I think next year they're going to have 19 schools that play baseball, but only 11 of those are going to play Division I baseball. So they've lost their automatic to the national tournament. So our region is now going to fall into the South region with Alabama. We just approved a contract for at least next year, where it'll be an 8-team tournament with 2 teams from our region representing 23, which is a first. I kind of negotiated that a little bit, and I thought it was time to let somebody else, you know, have just not have one team, but to have 2. So we're going to have 2 teams in the 8-team tournament. Alabama will have 6, and it'll be an 8-team tournament. It's going to be held at, and don't laugh at me because I'm a butcher this name, Chocoloca Park, which is in Oxford, Alabama. It's an Indian reservation that built a baseball complex in Oxford, Alabama, and it's really a first-class facility. Right now, they host the junior college state tournament there, and they hosted the last South Regional there this year.
And I believe Jacksonville State is out there in Oxford, right?
Yeah, I think that's correct. So that's where we're gonna be playing for. When I say we, Region 23 will be playing for the next at least 4 years. And the way it rotates is the first 2 years it's in Alabama. The third year it comes to Louisiana. The fourth year it goes back to Alabama. So we'll at least host 1 out of 4 years. I've been very blessed to win a few championships in a row at Region 23 and only had a chance to host twice in 24 years, which is shame on the NJCAA for that.
Definitely.
Yes.
And to the NJCAA's credit, they recognize it. The national director said, Region 23 is not getting a fair deal. We want to be able to change that, and that's a new contract that they have.
And that's big. That's big. and meaning next year it's going to mean a lot for the Region 23 tournament. But regardless, the fact is almost like with the tournament setting, it's going to be like now whoever's in the championship,
That's correct.
will be the both will is going to go, but
Exactly.
the winner will
Right.
have the higher
Yeah,
seed and
highest
bragging
seed.
rights in the
That's
championship.
correct. The way it sets up, I think when Alabama hosts Region 23 becomes a 2 and an 8 seed. When Louisiana hosts, Louisiana is a 1 and a 6 seed. So it's that way they don't play one another, and it's a pretty good arrangement.
Yeah.
That sounds like a really good deal, and that's really huge. When I kind of heard about that, and I was like, hearing the rumors about it, he was like, "Hey, this could be big for all three schools in the conference because now, you're gonna have a fair shake, and
No
it's gonna
doubt.
be good for me as well for an opportunity to not just for me but for the local media that it's not gonna be that far of a ride
No
that
doubt.
they can
You bet.
go cover the
And
tournament."
let's not only for the local media, but for the schools as well. I mean,
Yeah.
whoever wins Region 23 and has to go to Missouri next week, you're looking at about a $15,000 trip. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh.
By the time you bus in there and spending a week there, or if you fly there, whatever you do, it's very costly. So, um, it's more financially feasible for whoever represents Region 23, and more importantly, the fans can in the media can get there and see it and cover it.
Joplin, Missouri is the site of the South Central Regional, Jared. That's going to be
Yeah.
something
So,
else.
so Jared, the way it works is whoever wins that Missouri regional hosts. Now, Crowder is the favorite in that regional, and if they host, that's where they play in Joplin, Missouri, which is literally right over the I don't know line from where their little town is. It's probably about 25 minutes away from where Crowder is.
Wow.
But it could be anywhere. We could end up in St. Louis if one of the other schools, and we could end up in Springfield. I mean, and that's the toughest part about Region 23. Whoever wins, you got to sit next week and then make your plans. You can't make your plans right now. If you win this week, you can't go plan everything out. You got to wait and wait and wait and wait. And half the
Wow.
time, by the time it's time to make your plans, you can't get plane tickets or you can't get buses. I mean, it's been a nightmare, to be quite honest with you, in the past few years for Delgado. I mean, we've been able to always try to find a way to get it done, but it's a tough gig, man. With not having your own bus, and none of us have our own buses. Nunez don't have their travel. Baton Rouge doesn't have their travel, so it's kind of a nightmare, to be honest.
Wow. Wow. That is something else.
Wow.
That is something else. Well, Coach, we wish you the best of luck
Well,
in
I
the Region
appreciate
23
guys.
tournament.
Yeah, I appreciate everything you guys do, man. Y'all do a great job, and I'm proud of that guy over there on top of me. There, he's worked his butt off to do whatever he can to make himself better. And I know TSRN. Is that am I saying
Well, it's TSBN now, the Sports
TSBN?
Broadcasting Network.
Okay.
And I want to say this before we let Coach go. Everybody, we want you to come out there, support all three teams of Region 23, Delgado, BRCC, Nunez, over at Pat Keneally Diamond at Alumni Field this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for the Region 23 Baseball Tournament 2023. So come out there and support. If you don't come out, you can watch all the games of the tournament on TSBN Sports. That's tsbnsports.com. You can watch it online, or you can get the app. You can watch it on your Fire Stick, on your Roku, all that stuff. So
Good stuff. Good
make
stuff.
sure you get that and watch the tournament and come enjoy it. Coach, I always appreciate you. And when my daughter comes down here, I promise you,
I
I
see
will
that
bring her
movie
to see
star
you.
behind you there in that picture behind you. I see it. Good stuff. Good stuff.
That's my
All right,
inspiration.
guys. Again, thanks for everything you all do. And if there's anything Coach Sherman can ever do for you, please don't hesitate to yell. Okay.
Definitely,
No
Coach.
problem. Thank you,
Thank you,
Coach.
Coach.
Thank y'all.
Right.
All right.
That is Coach Joe Scheuermann before we bring in our good buddy George Peppers. You've seen Delgado in person, especially against Nunez. What are your thoughts?
Deep, probably one of the scariest teams in junior college baseball. They're that good. They're deep from top to bottom. They can hit the ball well, good timely hitting. They can pitch very well. They're very, very deep. You got 4 capable starters. They got a setup man and 2 closers. That's how good they are. And then on top of that, the defense is really, really good. The biggest thing about Delgado, that you got to jump on Delgado and jump on him quickly, but also you got to hit the ball good and you got to have time to hit. The outfield with Tyler Cook, Josh Alexander, and Brian Broussard is outstanding. You gotta hit it to where they can't get that ball, or hit it to a gap that they won't get it. That's how good Delgado's defense is. So if you can get some good time to hit the ball and make a play, or just get them in bad positioning, you got a chance. And I think, Delgado is the favorite, but it's not gonna be easy. Like Coach said, and Coach Powell even said this, it's kind of tough to beat a team 8 times in one season.
It's true.
So it's gonna be interesting in itself. The first day is gonna set the tone, but Delgado is definitely the favorite. But I ain't gonna lie, it's gonna be an interesting tournament. Friday sets the tone to go to see. But here's the thing about the scenario of the tournament: it's 3 games. It starts at noon. The thing about the format is this: if a team goes 2-0, they are automatically in the championship round, and all that team got to do is win one and win the championship. But if all 3 teams go 1-1, that means we got a Saturday game to set up for the championship. The one
Mm-hmm.
seed is Delgado. Delgado will have a bye in the championship round, so they're automatically in. The thing is, the 2 versus 3 seed will go at it, and that's BRCC Delgado. They'll go at it again on a Saturday. The winner will play Delgado Sunday for the Region 23 championship, and it's a winner take all because both teams have a loss. So whoever wins it wins the title. So it's gonna be interesting to see, but I don't think in this formatted tournament, I don't think we ever had a 1-1 on a day. So we're gonna see what happens. Friday's gonna set the tone, but it's gonna be interesting to see. I'll tell you one thing: Nunez, in my BRCC, we can't underestimate them at all. I think they're gonna give it all they had. Nunez is definitely a worthy challenger to Delgado because the games they played this year was unbelievable, and the majority of their games, maybe 1 or 2, was one-sided. Everything else has been 1 or 2 run games.
All right. Let's bring in our good friend, the one, the only George Peppers. What's going on, Mr. George Peppers?
What's up, Mr. Boyd? I'm doing fine, Mr. Jones. How you doing?
What's going on?
Just a quick opine. I'm watching the interview with you guys and Joe Sherman and VK. You and I have had numerous conversations throughout the year, and you've told me about Nunez. Delgado hasn't lost a game in Region 23 play this year. Am I right in saying that?
Say
You
that
are
again.
correct.
You're correct.
Okay. Now, that being said, they just took a doubleheader, lost a doubleheader to LSU Eunice, who's a nice team from up that way. But the tournament setting, the way you've got it it's going to happen. The pressure's on Delgado to win it because they've not lost a game. Nunez and BRCC are playing house money here. Nunez is the one likely team that gets to that championship game against Delgado because, as you said, BRCC's pitching is in question. Just I don't know if Delgado gets beat in this setting, but it'll be interesting if they lose game 1 or whenever they play, because then and look, they're veterans. Joe Sherman, he hasn't won 1,100 games for nothing. The man wins a lot.
Yes.
Um, so VK, I do have a question for you. Before I know we're going to talk about Logan Diggs here in a second, but I do have one question. If Nunez, Delgado, or BRCC win this tournament and they go to wherever in Missouri, if it's in Joplin or something like that, are you going to travel and do the games for TSBN?
Most likely not, because of the
Okay,
fact that they already have a crew that does the games out there in that
man.
section, and there's going to be a lot of costs, like Coach was mentioning.
Right.
out there. But
Yeah.
things are going to change
Yeah.
next season. That the two teams out of Region 23 is going to go to Alabama.
All right.
So things are going to be a little bit closer starting next season.
Economically speaking, it works. I get it. Okay.
Yep. I would love to be there, but it's an understandability why, and the people TSBN would love for me to come out there. Maybe they'll arrange something. I don't know, but you know they're tight on budget themselves. I'm blessed enough that they're covering me for this week.
All right. Now, let's get to this topic. One of the top NCAA college football players has entered the transfer portal, and that is Logan Diggs, Archbishop Rummels' star running back from a few years ago, who went to Notre Dame. And as you know, Logan Diggs has played the past 2 seasons at Notre Dame. And let me just throw out a couple of stats. His freshman year, all right, he didn't see the field until Chris Tyree got hurt. Once Chris Tyree got injured, Logan saw the field and never came off the field. They went to a 3 running back system when Chris Tyree came back, but Logan still was on the field. His freshman year, 52 carries, 230 yards, 3 touchdowns, 6 receptions for 56 yards, 1 touchdown. So as you can see, he can rush the ball and catch the ball. His sophomore year, I want y'all to pay attention to this. His first couple of games, he was mainly used as a decoy because he was still healing from shoulder surgery when he tore his
Labrum.
Yes, his labrum. Thank you. He tore his labrum in his shoulder. With that being said, he still led the team in rushing attempts with 165 and had 820 yards, averaged 5 yards a carry with 4 touchdowns, plus caught 10 balls for 211 yards. You guys can remember me saying, I think he, in estimate, with Sam Hartman, who transferred from Wake Forest, we're going to have a big year because I said the quarterback play was a main problem for Notre Dame last season, especially passing the ball. I thought these guys were going to blow up this year. Well, Logan Diggs entered the transfer portal. I'm going to say this. The schools I think Logan Diggs has on his radar is definitely LSU because he played for Brian Kelly at Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that Alabama may be on Logan Diggs' list because the OC, whose name I cannot think of right now, and it's crazy because I know the guy, he is now the OC at Alabama. I also would say maybe Texas because the guy that recruited him, Terry Joseph, is at Texas. I say maybe, but I would think LSU and Alabama are his top choices. Let me say this. If Logan Diggs decides to go to LSU right now, I think Logan Diggs is the best running back at LSU over John Emery. Logan Diggs can rush the ball, he can catch the ball, and he can block. He is a every down back. Every down back. He was going to know the system easily at LSU because he played for Brian Kelly, which was the same system he still ran last year at Notre Dame. But to have a guy that can do that, and I will say this, if you are one-on-one with Logan Diggs, he will make you miss a tackle. He is very elusive. I think he's coming back home. I really do. I don't know, but I think he's coming back home and be closer to family and to play in front of his family. I think it might be the best decision. I don't know if Alabama would be the best decision, to be honest with you now. I don't know. But I think LSU will be that best decision, and you will see Logan Diggs in purple and gold and seeing the field immediately off the get-go. He's too much of a playmaker. The only thing I would like for Logan to do is to hit that hole immediately. He's a patient runner. That's his style, but he has to see this hole open up and hit it, bang. Other than that, you got a lights-out player in Logan Diggs. And he can help LSU immediately be a strong contender for a national championship. What you got, VK?
Well, I'll tell you, I definitely agree with you. I think he's definitely the best back if he goes to LSU. I think he's going to be the guy, and I think he's going to really, really put something on John Emery's heels, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? So, we've been knowing John Emery since Destrehan, knowing his family and his people. But now he's going to have to I think Logan's going to put the foot to the fire if he comes to LSU. I think Logan's going to be the man, and Emery's going to be a solid number 2, but now Emery's got to really step it up. And knowing Diggs, he's a gamer. Diggs is a gamer, and he's ready to step it up again. And I think, this is an opportunity for him more than anything else, because I think he wants to get that opportunity to be the man. And that's why he probably left Notre Dame. I was kind of surprised a little bit.
Me too.
Because of the fact that I think he was going to get that shot this year, especially with Sam Hartman at quarterback. But LSU is returning a lot of folks, including Jaden Daniels. And I tell you, you're going from one contender to another. And that's kind of big for Logan if he signs at LSU. And I hate to say this, my friend, you gonna have to throw that Alabama hat away if he chooses LSU, my friend. That Alabama fandom, and especially for Logan's mom, that Alabama fandom gotta go out the window, Miss AJ. I love you to death, but it's got to go out that window. Because now he's gonna be a Tiger, and he probably gonna finish a Tiger. So guess what? The Alabama stuff gotta go bye-bye.
Before I go to you, George, let me just say this. Number one, do you know how hard it was for me to cheer for Rummel because he played for Rummel? Dude, you know how hard that was?
Dude, that's the 4Ks. Ask the 4Ks when Casey 4K went to freaking Rummel. Ask them. They had to make the adjustment to it. Keep 4K and talking with John, they got the adjusted to it. It was all good with it. You know what I'm saying? So
and look,
you're not alone, brother.
And look.
Shoot, I got a nephew at Curtis. And I'm an all graduate. Curtis.
Look. And I don't cheer for Notre Dame in football. But guess what? These past 2 years, I was cheering for Notre Dame. If Logan Diggs transfers to LSU, I want you to remember this. Family first. Yes, the LSU gear comes back out for the next 2 years. Yes, he will. Now.
And you could have been an alumnus over there, my brother. So, dude,
I could have. You're right.
You started there, man. Go.
I did.
Come back to the light, Jerry. Come back to the light. You went to the LSU women's game, so come back to the light.
Oh, yeah. But look, it's been. I'll ask this question to George, and then George can go on with his statement. Ever since Clyde Lair went to the NFL, is it safe to say, George, that LSU has not had a prominent rusher in their backfield?
I think it's a fair assessment, but let's qualify that by saying that this offensive line was in a state of transition too. Remember, This was a very young, inexperienced line that couldn't run block to pass block to save their lives. And last year, look, they had a spectacular year, more than people thought they would be. That team grew, but more so on Jaden Daniels. And Jaden Daniels took the bull by the horns and like, you know what Logan Diggs is going to do for LSU? He's going to take a lot of heat off Jaden. Jaden's not, his life is going to get a lot easier because now look what you got. And I don't want to make presumptions that he goes to LSU, but it makes the most sense. So everything I say is based on predicated on the fact that Logan, it's your choice. Make the choice that's best for you and
Right.
where you feel the most comfortable. Don't listen to peer pressure, your friends or whatnot. I mean, family first always. But if you want to come home, dog, you got a lot of family that loves you, man, and they're gonna welcome you. Baton Rouge is gonna be wonderful to see with you there. But I can only imagine the nightmare you went through, Jared, cheering for Notre Dame. As a Michigan fan, I can't cheer for Notre Dame in anything. I'm sorry.
God.
No, don't happen. I just can't do it. But I know this, VK. I'm gonna continue, but I know this. I know Jared got the fight song memorized, the Notre Dame fight song. I know that for a fact. He had to. I'm just saying. But now he could throw that paper away. But I'm going to agree with you on the other thing. If Logan makes the commitment to LSU, that Alabama gear got to go on Amazon fast, eBay, whatever website you can think of. My friend, do yourself the favor. Get rid of, and like VK said, I guess we're mirroring Poltergeist. Step into the light. I think he just said. Okay. So classic 80s movie for those of you youngins that don't know. But let's talk about the impact what Logan Diggs would bring to LSU. You say he's going to be better than John Emery. You know what he's going to do? He's going to create the most dynamic duo in college football. Think about it. John Emery came to LSU as a 5-star from Destrehan,
Yes.
dominated at Destrehan, but he's not lived up to the hype. He's been okay. He has not been that guy. You think maybe a guy like Logan Diggs in a year and 2 years, excuse me, has put out the productivity at Notre Dame and did this with a first-year head coach last year, by the way. Let's just remember that. Marcus Freeman, first full year.
Yeah.
Logan did what he did. And as you mentioned, he had the shoulder injury he had to recover from.
Yeah.
So a lot of things, a couple of hurdles he had to overcome. That said, I think Logan Diggs coming here, John Emery's going to be like, wait a minute, man. That competition is going to be fierce. And you know what? It makes LSU better, a lot better. And as VK mentioned, they bring a lot of guys back. Now, VK has not said this, but me and Jared know this for a fact. He's a Florida State fan, and Orlando may be Florida State's worst nightmare when LSU comes if Logan Diggs and Emery are in that backfield. And Jaden Daniels, oh, by the way, a more seasoned Jaden Daniels and Brian Kelly with more of his personnel. It's going to be a fantastic matchup at Florida State. They beat LSU last year, but LSU was young and dumb and made some big mistakes. But Logan coming here would be spectacular. Now, if he goes to Alabama, he's going to play right away. Because remember, Jameer Gibbs is now in the NFL, Detroit Lions 12th pick. So, and Nick's going to look, Nick's not stupid. The man's won 7 national titles. There's a reason he's got 7 rings. And if Logan goes to Alabama, I know it's going to break a lot of hearts. But he'll play right away in Tuscaloosa for sure. Regardless of what they recruit, Logan Diggs is better than a lot of backs. And I followed this young man at Rummel.
Mm-hmm.
Gee, Jared, I feel for you, Jared. You had to cheer for the man at Rummel. You're a Shaw grad. I mean, that's one nightmare. Then he goes to Notre Dame, and you're like, "What are you doing? Torture?"
He lived 1 mile away from Shaw. That's the killer part.
Right. But I have a friend at work whose son was heavily pressed by to go to Everett. He's coming out of Moreau Middle. And his mom would keep telling him, go to Everett, but you know what? It's your choice. Guess what he decided to do? He's
What did
going to
he say?
Rummel. He's going to Rummel. So, and I have no beef with Rummel. I mean, I'm not in the rivalry. Shaw Rummel, Megaphone, that's the rivalry. Everett Rummel, I mean, I could create a beef because they were the team that knocked Everett out of the playoffs last year. And I don't want to get into that because of mitigating circumstances or whatnot. But for Logan Diggs, VK, I think, look, the prejudice and the bias decision, say, Logan, come home, but make it objective and make it what is going to help you, but educationally too. Notre Dame's a great institute of learning. LSU is okay, but Logan, you got to make the best decision to where it's going to lead you to the National Football League. As I can promise you, Jared, I already know within a couple of years, his name will be called in wherever the draft. And wouldn't it be poetic if New Orleans ever got the draft and Logan Diggs was in it?
Oh man.
Mm.
I mean,
Oh man.
that would be just. I know the three of us would be there. I think we'd make our way there
Yes.
in some fashion.
I think
And
if Logan goes to LSU, we're gonna be there at LSU. There's no doubt, right? Right, Jared?
Yeah,
Now,
without a doubt.
mhm.
now, trust me, Mrs. Diggs, we not gonna hamper you. If you got extra tickets, fine, but we're not gonna bug you. You know what I'm saying? We respect you. We respect. You know what I'm saying? I've been knowing your cousin for a long time, Jared. You know what I'm saying? But we this might be the only time we'll fanboy it up because I'm an LSU football fan as well. But we're gonna
Oh,
respect your space because we know it's family first. So it's all good. Whatever tickets you put to your family, cool. We'll just wait. But if you can find some tickets on sale, we'll buy
okay.
it. You
I
know,
need to interject because VK, you and I are press members. We're media members. We
right?
could pull strings. Just we don't have to spend the exorbitant. Look, we don't have the funds you do. I mean,
I,
we're not the
I
rich
don't
guy
have
that
it
you are,
either.
sir.
I take a press pass a lot of times
I
too.
would too,
I'm
and
cool.
get Jared with us.
Yeah. That'll be
I
actually
mean, come
better
on
because
now.
we'll be on the sideline. We'll get VIP
Exactly,
treatment.
exactly.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, and I mean, it would be greatly appreciated. I'm sure.
Without
For
a
none
doubt.
of us to spend $200 or whatever it is the tickets are at LSU, the good seats. Uh, because I promise you, Tiger Stadium way in the high zone. Nah, man, that's too high.
Yeah.
That's like no, man. I mean, we ain't going to Venus to watch a football game. That ain't
Look,
happening.
look. G Sports has finally been going up in there doing LSU highlights.
Hmm.
Shout out to Jeremiah Gray. Shout out to
Jeremiah
him.
Gray. Shout out to him. He going to LSU games, getting highlights, getting. I mean, if he getting up in there, then we getting up in there. You know what I'm saying? Like we're well known members of the media, and I think I know a couple of LSU people, and I even know some of the coaching staff for LSU. Purple Knights in itself, but you know what I'm saying. Just
Hmm.
we get the connections in. We in like gravy. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of connects coming up. You know what I'm saying? Because hey, we got a couple places we might have to go. Baton Rouge is one. Tallahassee is another. Happy Valley is another. And maybe Boulder. So, hey, we going to hit it where we can hit it. And it's going to be all good because that's what the Hash It Out show does. We building our brand, baby. That's what we do.
That's right.
So we all say LSU, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I wouldn't be surprised there might be another school in the works.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I ain't going to lie. Push come to shove, maybe they might go to your dream school. See, the happiest thing in the world if Logan decides he goes roll tide. You'll
Let's
have a big old smile
Tommy
on your
Reese.
face.
Tommy Reese is the OC. That's how I meant to say. It's the
Former
Mhm.
Notre
OC,
Dame
and Tyler
OC.
Buchner just transferred to Alabama.
Yep.
Man, look, that'll bring a big smile on your face and AJ's face if this boy goes to Bama. And deep down, I don't want him to go to Bama. You know what I'm saying? I love the difference, you know what I'm saying? Nothing wrong with being different. Look, I feel your pain, Jared. It's okay. But I learned to accept that my nephew is about to graduate from John Curtis High School. So I'm accepting it to the fullest, man. I'm fine. I'm fine, dude. You're gonna have to feel the same if Logan signs that paper and goes to Brian Kelly and LSU. We'll have a chance at the national title this year.
Well, I mean, if we're making predictions on where he's going to go, I said this from the jump. I think it's got to be an objective decision and a proactive decision.
Agreed.
That's two of the most important factors for Logan, and that's obvious. That really goes without saying. But if we're throwing wild cards, I know I'm not throwing the Wolverines in there, but there's another SEC school that's lurking. I think would be more of the fit. Florida. Think
Florida
about it.
Gators?
True.
Yes,
Okay.
Florida. Billy Napier, second year. He's got to break in a new quarterback. What better way to help him out than get a stud back like Logan Diggs?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a scenario that probably is a long shot, but you got to factor young coach, go getter, and Florida last year it was a little bit rough. I mean, they made a bowl game and whatnot, but they showed a little bit of incremental progress last year as well. And what better recruiting win that Napier could get is if he could score a guy like Logan Diggs to go to Gainesville. Now that would piss off the Florida State fan right here, VK. But regardless of
I'm like
that
this,
stuff,
man. I'm like this. It might tick me off a
you're not
bit.
tripping.
I wouldn't be tripping because I would be more happy for Billy Napier and for also Jabbar Jaluk. So
Hmm.
it's different with me. I'll be a little
Right.
jealous because Florida State needs and Florida State returning a good little bit. You know what I'm saying? Kind of get some
Hmm.
momentum after last season. But I'm not hating, man. Wherever Logan goes, I support him 100%.
But my prediction at the end of the day, I think Logan Diggs, the lure of being home and a chance to play for a team that's on the precipice of being special, it's too much to pass up. I think he's going to Baton Rouge. I think LSU will be on their way. Remember, the playoff expands to 12 teams this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Next
It
year.
does. It's
Next
next
year.
season. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
12. So, and not that LSU needs it because I think they can be in the first four of it if things break right. This is a team that's going to make a gargantuan step. Ignore the bowl game that they had this year. I mean, that was against Grace King. I mean, Purdue. Uh, I mean, let's call that for what it was. It was as a glorified scrimmage. You know, LSU this year, their litmus test is coming in week 1 at Orlando against Florida State, and that's a revenge spot for LSU because you best believe Brian Kelly's gonna put that in their boys' hands and say, look, they beat you in your crib in New Orleans on national TV. They
Mm-hmm.
beat you here, and y'all had a chance to do something about it. Now let's see what y'all about. It'll be an early statement. I think the impact of Logan Diggs for LSU in 2023 is profound because now, like I said, you got a lot of guys back. You got a lot of guys back. O line, D line. Yes, you lose one or two players of impact. Ojulari is going to be a tough replace. I mean, but you get back Mason, your boy that tore his ACL opening
Mm-hmm.
week.
Yeah.
You get that dude back. He's a stud. And that dude was killing it against Florida State early before the ACL went. Um, LSU's impact, I mean, Diggs' impact at LSU is going to do two things. It's going to push John Emery to be a better player, to be that guy, that 5-star. And would you like to stop those two guys in 60 minutes time in a football game? I'm not sure you want that. I don't think you want them problems if you're a team playing LSU this year.
Let me say this before we move to the last topic.
All right.
I want y'all to remember this. Logan signed his letter of intent, and within a week he asked for his release because LSU came calling late and he wanted to go to LSU. He wound up changing his mind and didn't ask for his release and went to Notre Dame.
Hmm.
So I think in the back of his mind, the thought of playing for LSU has always been there. And now we move to the NBA playoffs.
And it's something else when he's going to be joining up with also Aaron Anderson.
Yes.
So that is
That too.
Scary.
Lord.
That too. All right. NBA playoffs. VK, what are your thoughts so far on the playoffs? The Celtics whooped the 76ers tonight. But other than that, what are your thoughts on the playoffs right now as we are in the second round?
I tell you, man, this is let me tell you one thing. It's starting to be more wide open than it is a bit, but the one team has really have very impressed me a lot has been the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah.
Denver Nuggets has been, and I called it and I said this: if Jamal Murray and Jokic get going, Phoenix in trouble. They are running circles around a Phoenix team that does not have any depth, and the depth of the Denver Nuggets are killing Phoenix. And now Phoenix doesn't have Chris Paul. We don't know. I think we don't know when he's coming back. I think he got another injury as well. And then DeAndre Ayton is just straight trash out there.
Oh,
Straight trash the way he's playing. The effort has been very, very poor. So I like what Denver's doing. The Lakers, kind of not a surprise. And welcome back, AD. Welcome back. The thing is, can he stay healthy? Can he keep up with this? Because I'm telling you, if he keeps up what he keeps up, the Lakers is going to win this series. I hate to say it. The Lakers is going to win this series. A lot of people said if Anthony Davis be the best player for the Lakers, they're going to win this series. And he showed out in game number 1 and cost me money. So good job, AD. Keep it up with your soft self. So still, I think the Lakers have a chance. Golden State just got to bounce back. Somebody, anybody is going to have to throw a body on AD. Somebody, anybody. In the East, the Knicks and the Heat, I see that thing going to 7. I see that going to 7 games. It's going to be a great, hell of a series. It's going to go down to the wire. And then the Philadelphia, that could go 6 or 7, maybe. But the thing about Boston, they're too vulnerable. They're too vulnerable. They don't have no killing instinct. They always do stupid things and everything. They're not acting like the defending Eastern Conference champions.
What if they woke up tonight? What if they woke up?
That's just one game. We seen that last year.
I just asked you a question. What if they woke up tonight? What if? The key word is if.
I know. I'm gonna say it again. We seen that last year. And what happened? We seen that last year. Still, Boston is vulnerable. I'm not saying, listen, they can they get to the finals? Yes, but they're capable of losing it too, because they do the stupidest things. They don't. To me, yeah, they did well tonight. Can they do it again? We have not seen it at all last season. We're not seeing it this season in the playoffs. Let's see it again against Philly, because now Philly's coming home. Series tied at 1 apiece. And if, like I said, the key is for Embiid to be healthy. That's the key. If he's 100% healthy or at least 90% healthy, that's going to be the big key for Philly to win in the series. But Philly could maybe win it without him. I don't know. But I think both teams might wear out. And I hate to say this. The winner of the Knicks Heat are going to the finals.
oh,
Okay. Well,
okay.
I'm gonna go first, and I'm gonna let George go. I'm starting the West. Phoenix don't have any. They don't have a bench. They don't have a bench at all to help them right now, and this looks bad. To be honest with you,
they traded their bench basically.
Pretty much. They have no bench. Chris Paul is hurt. Can KD and Booker manage to score 80 points these next 2 games and get a little bit of help? It's going to be hard to do. Because Denver right now, Denver look like the best team in the West, period. And on the other side of that bracket, we have who are the Lakers and the Warriors. You need somebody to bang with AD, and they don't have nobody that can bang with AD. And AD, the offense runs through AD. And the Warriors got to figure out something. Because think about it. Between Steph, Clay, and Jordan Poole, they hit 18 threes. The Lakers hit 6 threes total and still won. Still won the game. As far as the East, I got Boston getting through still. I think Boston still gets through to the next round. And right now, with Jimmy Butler being hurt, it's a question mark. Because I think the Heat will win the series with Jimmy Butler, but we don't know how long he's out. And that's advantage New York without Jimmy Butler. Go ahead, George Peppers.
Well, I don't know where to start. I think I'll start in the Western Conference. Phoenix and Denver. The Nuggets are telling you, for those of the naysayers that were like, they could be a vulnerable one seed. They're not that good. Their playoff pedigree is junk. I think they're shutting a lot of people up. They ransacked Minnesota in round one. They were supposed to. Phoenix turns out to be a pumpkin. I think the Nuggets, yeah, they got to go to Phoenix now, and all they got to do is win one there. Because that would be a 3-1 commanding lead. You come home, and Phoenix has already shown you they're not that good uh, in what they've played, how they've played to this point in this series. They've been non-competitive. They've not been a factor at any point. And without Chris Paul, you know what? I feel horrible for Chris Paul because he's one of my favorite players, and the man ain't got a ring. I hate that for him. And it's not going to happen this year. Phoenix is going home. Denver will take care of business. Lakers, Golden State. Jared, you just pointed out the stat that should tell you the Lakers are going to win this series. 18 threes last night, Golden State, between
Between Clay, yes,
Steph, and
definitely,
Jordan Poole.
yes.
And they still lost at home. But you want to know what got them beat? Heavy legs. I think in a second, and later on, the heavy legs, because they were in a very taxing and a bruising series with Sacramento in round one. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
they ran. Yes, they destroyed them in Game 7 by 20. But I think the Lakers with a little more freshness late was the difference. I think we're in for a 7-game series there. I still think the champs find a way to make some adjustments. Yes, Anthony Davis could be Anthony Davis. This could be 5-on-4 if you're Golden State. Let AD do his thing and try to concentrate on the rest. I think that thought could be dangerous, but I still believe the champs find a way and they do it in 7, and it sets up a tantalizing Western final with the Nuggets. What a final that would be, Western final. In the East, let's start with Boston, Philadelphia. James Harden remembered who he was in the playoffs tonight. 2 for 14, 0 for 6 from 3. Philadelphia was outscored 35-16 in the third quarter. They were down 8 at halftime. The Celtics locked it up tonight. They locked up defense tonight. Now, VK's point, I get, last year there were a handful of closeout games that they had at home throughout the playoffs before they got to the final. And the Celtics choked a bit in those games. Now, they still found a way to win. I'm not sure they have that this year, but now Philadelphia is going home with a bruised ego. Yes, they've won one game on the road. And the rule is if you're a road team and you get one and you get the home court, you got it. You got a good shot to handle your business. I picked the 76ers to get to the finals, but tonight is a little concerning. That was
Mm-hmm.
just, man, the Celtics just put the brick wall, St. Joe's, whatever bricks they could find, they laid it on Philly tonight. Now,
And
Philadelphia is gonna have to find a way. Finally, look, I'm the self-professed Knicks fan, but I'm gonna speak objectively, not prejudicially. All right. I think the Knicks are going to win this series against Miami because Tom Thibodeau adjusted in game 2 to what he didn't do in game 1. Well, late in game 1, when Jimmy got hurt, why in the world are you having RJ Barrett shooting threes when you got a wounded dude out there that Spoelstra didn't pull out? You're supposed to drive on him, drive at him, make him move his feet, if he's not going to take him up, punish him, not dirty. I don't mean it that way. What I mean is
Yeah,
be aggressive,
beat him on the dribble.
guard. And why wasn't Jalen Brunson handling the rock in game 1 late? What you saw in majority of those possessions late, they were dumping it to Mitchell Robinson, who couldn't hit a free throw to save his life. That
Mm-hmm.
dude is 40% from the stripe. But game 2, Julius Randle came back. CVK. I mean, what did we say, Jared, the other day? Randle, what happened? Julius did his thing.
They
They
figured out
won.
the Heat defense in the second half. They figured it out.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. It's 1-1. And the best thing for the Knicks, you're not playing game 3 till Saturday. So that's a few days extra time. New York could fly down tomorrow or Friday, whenever they're going to fly. But rest Julius Randle. I think they're winning game 3 to take the home court back. I think the series goes 6 games. New York wins it.
mm,
All right.
and here's the thing about what you're saying. Well, I'm gonna go back to the Celtics right quick. Scary part about that game tonight: 5 players in double figures for Boston. Jalen Brown led with 25 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. Derek White, 15. Marcus Smart, 15. Brogdon, 23. Grant Williams off the bench with 12. And you know how much Jason Tatum had tonight? And this is scary for a Boston win. 7 points. 7. Dang, that's crazy. Now for now, Randall is a big difference. He is a big difference. And like I said, and you're right
We
about
told
Randall.
you so.
No, I look. We seen some things with Randall. All right. Here's the thing I had with Randall. Randall is talented as hell. He can play, but sometimes he's a shell of himself. The biggest thing about Randall is this: what he does is outstanding, but he's got to do it every game. He does it every game. He gives the Knicks a chance to win every game. And that's the biggest thing I'm concerned with Randall. That's my concern. Not saying he's not capable of doing this, but there are times that sometimes he has to sit because turnover, missed shot, bad shot. We need consistency. If that shot's not there, find somebody else. But if you're on, you're on. Get it. That's all I'm saying about Randall. But he is a factor for the Knicks. He is a factor.
All right, guys. I'm gonna close out this show. I know both of y'all got something y'all would like to say, so I'm gonna let y'all get your say on. I'm gonna start with George Peppers first.
Oh, joy. But I know I said this earlier, and I appreciate that. But this, for those of you that don't know, I mean, you guys know, I usually do a blog for CrescentCitySports.com, and horse racing is my sport. And this weekend is the coup de grace. It is the Kentucky Derby, the 149th running at Churchill Downs on Saturday. I actually, well, I better not say because I might get in trouble, but I'll leave that part alone. I will partake in some fashion in the Derby. You will see me. I don't know if Jared, you follow me on Twitter. I'll give you my Twitter handle. I will be live tweeting throughout both Kentucky Oaks Day and Derby Day. VK, I know you're asking for some wagering advice, but the only thing I really want to plug is that I'm going to live tweet throughout Oaks Day on Friday and Derby Day Saturday, and also I will be potentially on Jordy Holberg's show on Friday, like
Nice.
last year, and I'll definitely be on with Ken Trahan and Ed Daniels, Three Tailgaters Saturday to do my usual Derby preview, and we Ed Daniels always puts the pressure on me talking about my wife needs you to win. And I'm like, oh Jesus, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble if I don't get there. But last year was an anomaly. 81-1 won a Derby. I don't think that's going to happen this year. I'm going to try to get a preview up on CrescentCitySports.com. My work schedule, y'all know how redonkulous it is. Elongated and whatnot. So I'm going to try to put together a preview, but publicly, I will give you my Derby winner. It is the morning line favorite, the number 15 Forte. How I put the pieces of the puzzle after that, I'm still working on, but I'll send both of you guys my picks. I know Jared's not a better. I know VK always, always looks to, and I've put I've put money in VK's pocket before. He knows. I put some money in his pocket. That man made a little bit of money off of me. He's got some coin. He ain't broke like he says. No, I'm kidding when I say that. But yeah, I'll be doing all that this weekend. I'm looking forward to it. And I know VK, I'm going to turn this over to you, brother, because you got some big stuff going on with the Region 23. So it's all yours.
Yeah, we got some big time things coming up. First of all, we had a lot of guests coming through this show, and a lot of people has achieved a lot of things since after the show. Marcus Scott, head coach of the Destrehan Wildcats, just been awarded another Coach of the Year trophy from LSU. LSU football rewarded him with the Coach of the Year. Nate Roche, Carver High School, back-to-back state champions. He was awarded the Louisiana Sports Association Class 4A Coach of the Year. So congratulations to him also as well. Randy Livingston, he made the Hall of Fame this year. He made the Louisiana State Hall of Fame. So congratulations to him as well. And finally, we want to send a big shout out to Dillard coach Trennis Scott. We're going to have Trennis Grant. I'm going to
Vince
say
Grant.
we're going to have him on again for the first time ever, first year of this baseball program. The Dillard Blue Devils are the GCAC tournament champions and has a berth in the NAIA regional. So congratulations going out to Dillard University. They had really truly no home field, and they had to go. They had to play some of their home games over at Riverside. What I heard. So for Trennis Grant overcoming a lot, and for Dillard in their first year winning the GCAC baseball tournament and going to the NAIA regional. Congratulations to those guys. Also, some big news on my end as well. I just got the news. I got a little something coming up next week. I will be in Sulphur, Louisiana. I will be calling the semifinals of the LHSAA baseball tournament from Tuesday all the way to Friday. I will be calling the semifinal games at that time. So I've been selected to call those games. I will be out in Sulphur next week from Tuesday all the way to Friday. I'll probably be back on Saturday, but still, it's huge for me. So next week, you'll probably see me in Sulphur Lake Charles. But, I don't know if we're going to have a show or not, but it depends. But at the same time, you'll see me live at a location. But
Well, congratulations.
Definitely congratulations is in order.
Big
Definitely.
time.
Looking forward to that. The games will be on NFHS. Looking forward to bringing the baseball action to you. Jeff Paloma will call the championship games on Saturday, but I'll be calling the semis from Tuesday to Friday. And finally, tune in this weekend. All roads lead to Hammond, Louisiana, Alumni Field, the 2023 Region 23 baseball tournament. Come out, support BRCC, Nunez, Delgado. Everything starts Friday afternoon at noon. BRCC, Nunez, we'll jump it off. Then 4:00, it'll be Delgado, BRCC. And then the nightcap at 7, it'll be Delgado, Nunez to close out the day. The scenario goes like this. If all teams are 1-1 on the day, it will be one game Saturday as Delgado will get the automatic bye for the championship and the championship game play on Sunday. But if a team goes 2-0, they'll automatically get to the championship rounds, meaning the team's got to win once to win a title. But come on, support. If you can't, all the games will be on TSBN Sports. That's TSBNsports.com. TSBNsports.com. You go to the website. They have an app as well. You can look at your Roku, Fire Stick, all that good stuff. You can watch on the big screen. So if you can't join us in Hammond, you can join us on TSBNsports.com or on the app to watch the whole tournament. I will have the call of the entire Region 23 tournament.
All right. My last words are this. What are y'all doing tomorrow?
Well,
what you got in mind?
What you got in mind? Because I'm heading to bed. I gotta head to Baton Rouge tomorrow.
Oh, you going to Baton Rouge tomorrow?
Yeah, what you got?
So, have y'all been watching Algiers America?
Yes. Now I haven't watched the episode this week, but I watched the one last week.
Okay. I kind of wanted to revisit that game in the car versus Westgate. But, ladies and gentlemen, watch episode 4 because the one and only VK Jones has a cameo appearance in episode 4. He does. He's there.
That's why you said tomorrow, because it's being released tomorrow, right?
No, it came out today.
Oh, it came out today.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but somebody sent me the pictures.
Okay, that's why you asked about tomorrow.
Yeah, it's with him, you, Kenny, and I forgot who the third man in that booth was.
Willie Brooks.
Willie Brooks.
Yeah.
So we'll see if y'all can.
And go back to episode 3 as well.
Yeah, we heard your voice. Yes.
Yeah, my voice is on in the episode 3. Warren Easton and Carr. I was the voice, and also Jamal Greenberry. Shout out to him. Me and him called that ball game. So you're gonna hear our voices on the last couple, like 10 minutes of the Easton and Carr game. That's all voices from the Crescent City Sports game last season. So that's us in there. But episode 4, you see me on the screen. You see Ken Trahan. You see Willie Brooks.
So Sean looking like he in disbelief because Carr is losing. A disbelief look like they are really losing.
I was, because here's the thing. I knew how good Westgate can be. But for them to step up like this, it felt like this might be their night, because they've been in this position before and they always come up short. But it was one of them nights that things were going right the way it was. And it's like, okay, they trying to break this curse. And as soon as they broke it, and not just that, a lot of streaks was broken because of the fact with Westgate winning, you got to understand, Carr hasn't lost in the jungle in 10 years. That's a long time for them not losing in Berman for that long. So that's unbelievable for them to finally lose a playoff game at home. And I tell you, man, that was a great night. Everybody was shocked. But the biggest thing I can say about that night, and even Jackson Flagger talked about that, he was saying that a lot of injuries affected Carr that night. When you only have Aaron Anderson left, and the one weapon I thought was going to be there was Uri McMath, and he's hurt. I'm like, and I had to tell Jared myself, I said, Jared, AJ got no weapons. The bullets are going in the chamber. And then on top of that, the running back for Carr, he gets kicked out the game.
And Jawing tore his ACL.
Tore his ACL.
No excuses. No excuse. I'm sorry.
No, that is.
I know Jake Fagan said all that they were hurt, but guess what? I'm sorry.
No. It's
no excuses.
It's
better
greater
team
hand
won.
you
We're
dealt.
not gonna do all that. The better team won. We're not gonna be like, Carr had injuries. That's why they lost. We're not gonna do that.
No, we're not gonna do that either. I'm not trying to do that either. I give Westgate credit, but the injuries
came and punched them boys in the mouth, straight up.
I ain't
ran through. Look, if you watch episode 4, they ran through. They workout with the warm up, pregame warm up. Westgate ran through that. Straight ran through it. We here. Watch it.
I'm gonna watch it.
Coach Antoine say, look him in their goddamn eye when you go do the coin toss. Look him in their goddamn eye. Bruh.
Yeah.
Bruh. And AJ was hurt the whole game. Like,
see, that's what I'm saying.
But hey,
I'm not discrediting Westgate at all. I want to watch the episode 2. But like I said, sometimes injuries is a factor, and it's a huge factor to me. Because like
adjustments were made once again. Off the get-go, you're going to see AJ.
What adjustment?
AJ gets blitzed. AJ got blitzed the whole game. No adjustments were made to protect AJ.
I'm going to say, here's the one thing I'm going to say about that. I do agree with you with that. That's the one thing I do agree with you on that. But at the same time, all the injuries, and he couldn't even find, now the protection, sometimes it was bad. But then sometimes he had enough time, he couldn't find nobody. They basically almost doubled.
Couldn't find nobody because he's running for his life.
That's true.
He ran for his life the whole game.
That's true, but people wasn't open either. You know what I'm saying? Like the one weapon.
Yeah,
the one weapon. The one weapon I'm looking for.
Run deep, Aaron. Run deep instead of some screens, some slants, some crossing routes. Come on, man.
But Aaron was your only
screen to the running back.
When 3 and 4 your targets are not there, what else you do? Because it's no bullets in the chamber. No bullets. It's not good when you don't have bullets in the chamber. You have to make adjustments, and I agree with you. Aaron could have did other things. But when you're in
what the players call. What players call. That's what Aaron can do. He can't change that.
No. I agree with you on it should have been different routes and stuff for Aaron. I get it. He's running them plays he's running. But when you ain't got other people with him, that's not good. Like Uri McMahon was a huge weapon because you think about the Eastern game, who made the damn big catch? He did. And for the win. And think about it.
Who ran into 2-point conversion for the win?
Westgate.
AJ did.
AJ,
Now,
but if
Go ahead,
McMahon don't make that catch, they don't get the first and goal.
Now, are we revisiting car? All right.
This is why I want to have this tomorrow because this would be great. See, go ahead,
See,
George.
I know, I agree. I just want to say, if we're revisiting Car Westgate, the game, did we stop that thing? And I think, Jared, you intimated it without actually saying it, but I'm going to. Bryce Brown got out coached. He didn't make the adjustments needed. He knew what he had limited. Ryan Antoine said, okay, Bryce, if you going the same way, you're making it easy for me, my boy, and we're going to get it. And Westgate, they punched Carr in the mouth. And oh, by the way, they did it to Warren Easton the next week in the Superdome. We were there on that sideline. BK, I remember at the 3-minute mark when Westgate gave up the ball inside the 20 and Carr got it. I told you, I turned to you and said, man, this game's over. Easton was going to win this. There was no way I thought Easton was losing that night and when that sequence happened. And we could talk about Jerry Phillips saying, man, he should have looked his kicker in the eye and said, hey, bro, can you make it? If you are, go get it. I don't think none of that happened. And then the schematics of that game, of both games, of the Westgate game against Carr, schematically, Westgate outcoached them. They out-schemed them, they outsmarted them, and they outplayed them. Simply put, you play the hand you're dealt when the weapons are not there, Jared. Am I right? When you're not there,
Is it?
you do what you got to do.
Sport.
It's called adjusting. And
Yes.
Bryce Brown did not do a good job that night of adjusting. He's won a ton of games. I love Bryce. He's a quote a minute. Love him. Think he's an outstanding human being. We've gotten to know him personally, all three of us, in a form, media or personal. The guy is outstanding. But you got to call a spade a spade. He got out coached that night. But I know that's not the intent. We were trying to promote Algiers America. I don't have Netflix. I actually don't have Netflix. It's Hulu. It's Hulu. I'm sorry. Okay,
it's on Hulu.
Okay, I got you. My bad. I stand corrected. I'm sorry. I will catch up and watch every bit of Algiers America. Why? Because it's a representation of our football in New Orleans. It's a representation of what we do down here, and it announces to the United States that Louisiana is one of the top dogs in football, high school football, and we've seen it every year, the three of us, for a long time. We have seen it. We know this for a fact. We don't need to know this, but we do. But people that don't know, y'all getting educated, and y'all going to understand that Louisiana football is elite, and that's where I'm closing on that. Watch it. I will get a chance to see it. I just got to find the time, and whatnot. But again, I just want to say, and I know we're about to sign off. Thank y'all. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity. And look, this show continues to grow week by week by week by week. And the guests you get, it's called credibility. Credibility has gone 200-fold since the beginning of this show. And that's a credit to you and BK, but by lining these guests up. And I'm glad that we're going to get Dillard's head coach on hopefully soon, because to me, that is the most monumental accomplishment that has not been front page. Obviously, the draft was last week, but Dillard making the NAIA in their first year without a home field, that is overcoming a lot. And big, massive big ups to Dillard. And that's one set of Blue Devils, BK, you do like. I know there's another set you don't like, and we'll discuss that another day. But I am delighted. I don't know. I don't care what Dillard does in the NAIA, whether they go to and barbecue or who cares. That doesn't matter. The fact that they made it there in their first year is a huge accomplishment. And to those kids and to that coaching staff and to their families who pushed for those kids to be successful and the coaches that drilled it into them, y'all deserve this moment. Enjoy it.
And so Jared, you want to try to you saying you want to try to do a little something tomorrow?
Yeah, just to go over episode 4 and talk about that game if you can.
I'm cool with that. What time you talking? Because like I said, I'm just gonna be at the hotel and whatever.
What time you be at the hotel for?
Well, I'm gonna try and check in at check-in time so I can beat that traffic. So I ain't got nothing lined up because the tournament is Friday Friday afternoon.
I'm thinking probably around 6:37.
Sound like a winner. Seven would be best.
7 be better for you. All
Seven be
right,
best.
George,
7 o'clock tomorrow night.
let's do it.
How you saying? I'm in like Flynn.
All right, cool.
Yeah, catch up and watch Algiers America, especially episode 4.
4.
Of
Yeah,
course, when we get to see the handsome, the most, I ain't gonna say the wrestling theme I'm thinking of. I wrote it on our Facebook chat earlier. I'll leave that alone. I think it's a little. I'm not saying it's insensitive, but it's a little quote risque. But you already know, Jared, because I wrote it earlier. I mean, you get to see a handsome devil right there. Not devil, but handsome guy. Really, and I'm proud to say one of my best friends.
And I'm like this. I can say I've been proud to say I am the truth in sports and entertainment today.
Yes, indeed.
All right.
I don't know about that.
We want to thank Jeremy Kennedy, the head coach of the Loyola Wolfpack baseball team, for joining us. We also want to thank Joe Scheuermann, the head coach of the Delgado Dolphins baseball team, for joining us. My two friends, George Peppers and VK Jones, thank y'all once again. I am JB, your sports guy. We'll be back tomorrow to talk about episode 4 of Algiers America.
Watch it.
Like our good friend, Coach Ryan Antoine said, look him in that goddamn eye. We see y'all later.
Woo!